I'm finally at peace.
What?
Because we moved our room around.
Oh yeah, we did last night.
In a fit of stress and panic, we moved our entire bedroom around multiple ways, and we finally got the best way.
The weird thing was I was working on like cleaning up the house and really the office like all day, and then all of a sudden at like 10:15 p.m. you were like, I gotta change this room.
Ladies, you were late, don't you? It was really bleak in here. After a bad suggestion from my older sister. No offense, Jamie, but you were wrong. And so we moved it back. And I'm gonna say it, feng shui is real. And we are breaking a feng shui rule, but in multiple articles it said, if your room is small and you have to break a rule, don't worry, just figure out the best rule to break. So we're breaking the best rule for us. And I gotta say, vibes in here, never been better, right?
What rule are we breaking?
Wall, bed against the wall.
Oh, see, so we changed it. Originally, we had our bed up against the wall into the corner.
Is this interesting for people?
I think it might be.
Okay, because it's putting me to sleep.
Oh.
Good night, Noah.
Wait, I want to talk about this.
No, but what you're going to say is boring. That you just like it up against the bed because it's cozy, against the wall because it's cozy.
Yeah.
I say I summed it up in 5 seconds for you.
Okay.
Good night, Noah. Love you.
No, I'm going to sleep.
Okay. Because you're mad at me?
Wait, I can't go to sleep out of you.
It's the Bedtime Podcast. Sorry to start the episode off on a fight, guys. A huge fight.
I will just say I really like a bed up against the wall. It's very cozy.
I think it's cozy too.
And I'm happy to break that feng shui rule. Also, in our room, it gives us a lot more space.
Well, yeah. I think it's just bad feng shui if you're rich.
Yeah, I mean, the last few days in our old setup, I would wake up and be like, what a drag this existence is. Like, that's how much of an impact feng shui has on the emotional human experience.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point.
Like, I did not like it. I felt very cramped, and I'd wake up feeling cluttered. And this morning I woke up and I felt so open and ready to tackle the world.
That's what your room should do. Man, feng shui is crazy.
Anyways, I want to circle back. We have a video right now on Instagram that's going crazy.
Yeah, about Let's Make a Deal and our experience on it.
And I just want to circle back because before we recorded that episode, I told my mom that we were going to talk about it, how fucked we got. And her reaction was the best. I was like, Mom, yeah, we're gonna go on the podcast and talk about this and just tear them apart. And she was like, oh, Noah, don't do this.
Have we talked about the Airbnb story on here yet?
We have. But
okay, yeah.
She
they know. She's very sensitive to online matters of the online heart.
I think she's sensitive about rocking the boat. She was like, don't do it. Just leave it alone. Just leave it. Why do you have to go do this, Noah? And I was like, Mom, it's going to be fine. I'm telling you. I was also like, if they came at us.
What would they get? Try suing us.
But also like, show me, we would be able to get the best First Amendment rights lawyer in a second. This case is going to the Supreme Court without question.
Then we become do we become lawyers after that? How do you have a case like that and not become a lawyer? No, too much school. Never mind.
Okay, you do realize you don't become a lawyer if you win a case, right? You have to go. You know that, right? You have to go to school.
I do know, but I'm like, you have a case that impactful. How do you not go to law school? But I'm like, the world is flooding. The world is flooding, shaking, burning. I'm not going to law school. That would be ridiculous. I'm sorry. I go from 0 to 100 real quick, as you guys know.
Personally, as it relates to climate change, I do think we need more lawyers. But let's get back to my mom.
Yeah.
So she was so worried. And my dad was like, Noah, you really sure about this? They're both in the car. They're just like, I don't know about this. This does not seem wise. This does not seem wise. And I'm just like, it's going to be okay. What do you think's going to happen? Then, this video is going viral. And so a handful of people keep tagging, let's make a deal.
Yeah, can you stop doing that? Because we don't actually want trouble. Like, we don't want more money from them. Like, that was never the purpose. I don't want my $14,000 vacation. I don't want $14,000 from them. It was funny to talk about. It was like it was not a good experience on the show. Like, it was a very hard day of free work for what we thought was a free vacation, and it didn't work out. It's not the end of the world. Like, way worse things are happening. We don't care. So please stop tagging them.
Oh my God.
What?
You're heated.
Well, I'm just like,
I didn't realize this was bothering you that much. I just thought it was funny.
no, it is funny that I don't know why they're tagging it, because nowhere in the video do I say, I want my money. Like, I don't care.
It's also
at
like,
all.
it's like doing illegal drugs and then like calling the cops to join you.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to upset Big Bad. Okay. Like, I just don't want trouble. Let's make a deal. He never watched Buffy, so when I say things like that, he doesn't get it.
What is that?
Big Bad's just like, Big Bad of the week. Whatever.
Do they refer to the bad person that week? The characters refer to that person as Big Bad?
A lot of the times, yeah.
Buffy will be like, oh, what's the Big Bad this week?
She'll be like, oh, Big Bad. You got to watch it. You should, though, for fun. With me. The whole series.
I would watch that, but
oh my God, guys.
It is just funny, like my parent, like I feel like there are a lot of parents, like all my friends' parents growing up were all like that.
Yeah.
Like had that instinct, like don't rock the boat.
You know what's really interesting? I was thinking about something from like my teen years the other night, and I actually do want to talk about this. How I went to a Christian school, and a lot of the parents would tattle on other kids if they got caught smoking or drinking and get them expelled. And I would always go home and tell my dad, and he'd be like, why the fuck are other parents at your school trying to ruin these children's lives? Like, it was such a toxic, disturbing environment.
So can you explain that a little more? I'm a little confused. So they would be at their house,
like,
or?
Well, so I remember specifically my friend's dad was very conservative. He was from Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
I'm from a very conservative part of San Diego. All of San Diego is pretty conservative, so that's not hard. But like everyone at my school was voting for
us to go into Iraq.
No, who ran against Hillary Clinton? No, who ran against Barack Obama?
John McCain.
John McCain.
Yeah.
No, the first time. Yeah, John McCain. Everyone was voting for John McCain at my school, and like we were the only family voting for Obama.
Or was it Mitt Romney?
It might have been Mitt Romney, because I specifically remember binders full of women.
Oh yeah, I think I have binder. What is that? What did he say?
I have binders full of women
that he hires.
Yeah.
he was defending himself about hiring women.
Yeah, and he was like, I love women. I have binders full of women. I remember watching that live and thinking it was the funniest thing ever.
But they didn't vote.
No,
they're just families voted.
Yeah. Well, no, a lot of us were old enough to vote.
Gotcha.
So this was when I was a senior. So maybe it was Mitt Romney running for vice president?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, it doesn't matter. This is boring.
Go to tell me this.
So I remember specifically my friend's dad, some kid had parked outside of his dentist office and was smoking weed, and he called the school and got him expelled. And I told my dad, and he was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Especially in California.
Well, it is San Diego, which like people think is very cool, like hip place. But the reality is like surf culture, very white supremacist, like very gross. It's what? It's true.
Surfers are basically hipster white supremacists.
No, it's really like it's crazy.
It's a white culture.
Yeah,
we watched 100-Foot Wave.
Yeah, it's really gross, and there's like all this fighting that goes on in San Diego between white surfers and non-white surfers, and it's over turf. Like, it's embarrassing. But then specifically my school's so Republican, and I remember because I transferred in the middle of high school, and I think someone posted a photo of me like fake smoking, like I was going like this
with nothing?
With nothing. And the mom made them take it down because she was worried someone would try to get me expelled. And
you just don't know what can happen these days.
It was such a crazy culture. And I just was like, why are you trying to ruin children's lives?
I know. That's so messed up.
Not to say it's ruining their lives, but it was a very good prep school. Like, everybody got into a good college. And yeah, why would you try to get somebody kicked out of that?
Yeah. Also, like, I mean, being an adult, I wouldn't want my life ruined because it just does not seem just for my life to be ruined because I smoked a joint.
No, it's fucked up.
But also, I do think when we were growing up that the culture and like was obsessed with punishment.
Yeah.
You know, obviously in a more grander scale in the industrial prison complex.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about
but
a bunch
just
of
on
white kids getting
no, just on a small scale. Like even in my high school, like people were obsessed with people. You're gonna get yours. You know.
I will say, luckily, at my school, everybody left the kids who weren't white alone. Like, thank God, no one who wasn't white ever got expelled for that. Everyone who got expelled was white. So
white on white crime.
White on white crime. But maybe the parents, there was some weird like competitive thing with like, oh, you think your kid's going to a better school than my kid? But well, like, your kid smokes weed and I'm going to ruin his life.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to send your kid to jail. It's so crazy. Also, I imagine because of, you know, it's a prep school, so it's probably a lot of wealthy families. Mm-hmm. The connections run deep. So maybe to them, like, it's not a, you know, calling the cops or getting them expelled, like, maybe they don't look at it as severely as, you know, another parent might in another demographic.
Yeah. Nobody was going to jail. They weren't calling the cops. They just were getting them expelled from school. And I feel very lucky I didn't have parents like that who weren't competitive and who also would never think to ruin a child's life. Like, would never.
Your parents are very laid back.
Yeah. When I was growing up, my mom was like, what are we all doing? Our purpose on earth is to just be. Yeah. There's people who just stare in the sun all day, and that's how they get their energy, and they don't eat.
Yeah. Whenever I thought about the idea of getting expelled from school growing up, I was like, that sounds awesome. I'm like, wait, you're like, obviously the implication was my parents would probably ground me, but like, I don't know. Like, if my parents didn't agree with the reason why a school was expelling me, honestly, it sounds like a day off.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to find another school, but.
Oh, that's the trouble.
Yeah.
You can't come back.
You can't not go to school.
What about suspension?
Suspension always sounded sick as fuck. I never got suspended or expelled or anything. I just got detention like every day. But
I think I got in-school suspension once.
Wow, good for you.
In-school suspension's bullshit.
What'd you do that for?
That's like doing time.
Or what'd you get for that? Yeah, that's horrible.
I think it's which I believe I've told this story, of when me and the guys...
Oh, dumped poop on everyone's step?
We shat in bags, in brown paper bags, and wrote our middle school teachers' names on it. And we duct taped them around our middle school. And we got caught.
Yeah.
And we got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And I got in-school suspension, which was very boring.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
But
you're just in school, but you're in extra trouble?
You're just like in school and you can't do anything. You just have to do your homework.
What do you mean you can't do anything? You can't go to class?
Yeah, you're just doing all your classes in that one room.
Oh. Who's teaching them?
I don't really remember.
See,
it doesn't make sense.
So stupid.
Punishment is stupid.
Punishment is so stupid.
We do. I mean, in some regards, obviously capital crime, we should punish these people, but in some way, like murder,
Yeah, murder, rape, of course. But like everything else.
Not the death penalty.
No, not the death penalty. But everything else, good by me.
We've accidentally stepped in a hot pool of water.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Speaking of.
Oh, okay. So
speaking of capital punishment.
Well, speaking of, we're gonna go to this.
I know.
Oh, I thought you were
Stanley Tucci.
No, that's funny. No, well, so the Let's Make a Deal trip reminded me of we went to Italy.
It reminded us of the last time we traveled.
Yeah, which was we went about a year ago. We went to Italy, and before we went, we watched Searching for Italy with Stanley Tucci on CNN, and it is. For inspiration, on where to go. And that show is just so funny. Stanley Tucci, unknowingly, is the funniest host of a travel show anyone could ever watch.
He's so funny.
He's unbelievable. There's this one part in the show that Syd and I say to each other all the time. We quote
to this day.
At home to a restaurant where I had a simple zucchini and pasta dish that honestly changed my life.
And I went to this place where I had a simple zucchini pasta that honestly changed my life.
Okay, he does the impression wrong. I do it right. So he goes, and then we went to a restaurant with a simple zucchini pasta that honestly changed my life.
That honestly changed my life.
No, it's that honestly changed my life.
That honestly changed my life.
I just picture him like doing that voiceover and going, honestly, changed my life.
Okay, no, you're doing it wrong.
We're doing it the same way.
No, we're not. But
You do it again. Do it one more time.
That honestly changed my life.
That honestly changed my life.
That's better.
That honestly changed my life.
When we saw this, we were laughing hysterically because how does a pasta change your life? I just want to know, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, Stanley, relax. This guy's coming to pasta.
Like, the closest I can think of is when I learned how to make spaghetti aglio olio. I guess it changed my life in that, like, now if I have nothing to eat, I have something quick I can whip up that's really good. But I'm still like, that didn't change my life.
Yeah. Also, that all these food shows, they have to be like so much more colorful than they actually would be. Because like usually when you're like eating a really good meal, you're not talking.
No.
You're just like enjoying it. But he has to articulate everything so it's more entertaining. So he's just coming up with this stupid shit. Honestly, changed my life.
And then you watch him make the pasta. And then I guess what you find out is that him and his wife, who's Emily Blunt's sister, make this pasta like 3 days a week at home. I think they live in London or New York. They might live in both. So they make it like 3 days a week, and they've been making it wrong this whole time, they find out. Because you have to like deep fry this eggplant 2 times.
Zucchini, you mean?
Zucchini. Which, how are both of you not having heart attacks?
I know. That was the other thing. Watching him in those food shows, how do these people not have the highest cholesterol?
Or how do they maintain their figures? Truly.
It's crazy. But so in this show, he's just like over articulating everything. Like there was an episode they did about peasant food in Italy, which is like more like
it's like bread and tomatoes.
Yeah, it's just more like soupier dishes.
Yeah,
like,
shit you can throw a bunch of carbs on.
And the whole time he's eating this food with the locals, and he just kept he's finding it so delicious, and he's like, wait, you're telling me this is peasant food?
And this is peasant food. Incredible.
The cooking is really very poor cooking, whereas the poorer people basically just had beans. The only way to truly understand Tuscan poor food.
It's incredible that food could be this good, but it was really for peasants?
It was for poor people.
You're telling me poor people would eat this food? It's delicious.
And it's like, yeah, but also like in Europe, you don't have to spend a ton of money for a great meal. You don't really have to either here anymore, but...
He seems so blown away that food eaten by poor people could also be good.
Jesus Christ. It's like, yeah. Have you heard of Sicily? Come on. Obviously, poor people make better food because they cook at home more. They're just more experienced.
Yeah.
Like, they know what they're doing.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Rich people, a lot of rich people I know can't cook, which is why I get so much work cooking for them sometimes.
Yeah, that's why they have private chefs.
Yeah.
Who's a poor person.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I obviously know how to cook all of this. It's like all I've been doing since college.
Also, like, I think I mean, it's exactly what you said. And, meal prepping is someone who doesn't have as much money. That's what they do. So like you said, it's just more practice making something,
Yeah.
and making something at cost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was so funny. It was just, I can't believe that this food is good and it's eaten by poor people. Like,
he's something else.
I really like you.
I really like him too.
Yeah, but he has these moments where I'm just like, are you not on planet Earth?
He's not on planet Earth.
I mean, Stanley Tucci acts like he's the richest man in the world.
He just acts like you would expect him to.
But it's also like, he's from Long Island. Like, I don't understand how he got his voice. Maybe he learned to get rid of his accent in like acting school, but he has no East Coast accent. He really his voice is like rich guy. That's his accent, rich guy. Like, like if I were like, when you get rich, do you just start talking like that? Like, whoa, I just can't believe I'm here tonight.
Honey, pass me the Negronis. Speaking of Stanley Tucci.
Stanley.
More like Stanley Tucci.
Or I was going to say Tucci.
Tucci. That's good.
So, we went to the beach this week.
Noah's obsessed with the beach. I don't really like it, but I go because I have to. I don't like the beach, but I go. It's a huge sacrifice for the one I love. So I go when it wants me to. Whenever I can't get out of it.
When I truly am on my hands and knees begging you to come to the beach. Why don't you like the beach?
It's too far. It's sandy. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. My tummy's just flopping out. I'm a big bloater, so I don't love to be flopping around in a bikini. I get sunburned really easily. I have crazy hair around salt water. It just explodes. I'm just not comfortable. I'm all covered in sunscreen, and you can't wash your hands. We had to use porta potties all day. There was no sinks. I don't like this lifestyle.
Yeah, we show up to the beach. We got salad, some Jones on 3rd. Syd forgot to get forks. So I'm going along the beach asking if anyone has any forks. The best I could get were plastic gloves. I come back, Syd, I'm like, we're going to eat the salad with these gloves. We ate the salad with the gloves.
And it was a tuna salad. So we ate tuna with plastic gloves. And it worked.
It worked, but it was disgusting to taste
horrific.
Plastic in every bite.
Horrific.
But so we're at the beach, and look, I hear all those things why you don't like the beach, but
Yeah, of course.
I like the beach, and I'm willing to put up with. I recognize the hassle of it. I do. But when you get there, and especially now that we have a tent, it's very relaxing. And to me, it's just when I'm at the beach, I feel like I'm living life.
And that makes me think we should have moved close. I mean, I love our apartment. We're not moving. But it does make me think I should have just moved with him to fucking Santa Monica so he could go every day and I don't have to worry about this.
You live in Santa Monica. You come to the beach less than if you had lived all the way on the east side.
That's literally why I would move. so that I can go less.
You're treating me like a dog. You realize that?
No.
You're just letting me out to pee.
Basically.
But so we're at the beach. I recognize those things, but I love it. And it was a really fun day.
Yeah, we had a good time.
At one point, though, I see that Syd's little tushy and her legs are sticking out of the tent.
My Stanley Tucci is sticking out of the tent.
Yeah. And the sun is getting direct sunlight on it.
The sun is getting direct sunlight on it.
The sun is hitting it directly. And I go to Syd. What were you on your phone? Yeah.
Yeah, I was TikToking to make the time go by faster.
Oh, no.
I was just trying to disassociate so the beach would go by faster.
And I'm gonna blow right by that because that does hurt.
Why? You're not the beach. Get a grip.
But so her tushy and legs are sticking out.
It's so weird to call a grown woman's ass her tushy.
And I go, Syd, do you have sunscreen on? Because there's sunlight coming directly on your tushy and legs. And she goes, no, I'm fine. And I'm like,
which is very unlike me because I'm very good at sunscreen. But it had been gray all day and I was being stupid. I'll admit it. I was being stupid.
yeah, I'm looking. You give me that. You say that to me and I'm just like, I literally looked around. I was like,
It was out of character.
and I'm like, are you sure? Because there is sun going directly on your tushy and legs.
Stop saying tushy.
And she's like, I'm fine. Very firmly.
Because I wasn't flipped over for that long either. But that didn't matter.
And then we get home from the beach.
It's mayhem.
And Syd's tushy and legs
Stop saying tushy.
is so fucking sunburned.
I have tomato legs and tomato ass.
But the best part is her tushy. It looks like she's wearing underwear when she's naked.
I have the most insane tan line because I'm translucent. I'm so pale And now I'm fucking red. I mean, it's turning into a tan, which is nice. There was no peeling. But it has been extremely painful and extremely ugly.
Why didn't you just listen to me?
I don't like listening to other people, especially at the beach. The beach. If I have to be at the beach, I told you I was disassociating. I don't want to be there, so I'm just not thinking about it.
But I just am like, I'm trying to help you.
No, I know.
And you were just like, it was so funny. I really did not think it would happen like that. Like, I really thought that you were going to be fine.
Yeah, me too. That's why I didn't freak out, but I should have.
But when you showed me your sunburn when we got back, it did, it was this weird thing because it was bittersweet because it felt good to be right. But also, like, you're in pain, and I did not like that.
Well, so I asked him to rub aloe vera on my body, and this motherfucker does not know how to do that. I was like, just get a glob, lightly rub it on. He starts massaging it into my leg. So painful. I'm like, stop. You, like, put a layer over it. You don't rub it in. You let it just sit there, and it soaks in.
Yeah, I fucked up.
It was so painful.
Yeah, it was, like, really, like, deep tissuing, massaging your sunburned tushy and legs.
It was horrible.
I've
had a rough week.
Yeah, and I love how many times I've said tushy.
I know. Well, I love it.
You've had a rough week. Your tushy's been hurting and your belly's been hurting.
Yeah, I've had food poisoning all week.
You got food poisoning from
kimchi.
Ugh, hate to see it.
Hate to see it.
We love kimchi.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to touch this stuff again.
Ever again? You're done?
Well, I'm really feeling disgusted by food right now, so I'm not eating any meat or dairy, and I'm trying it for a week because I feel like I need a good system reset
because of the food poisoning.
Because of the food poisoning, also the last thing I ate before I barfed up everything was a lot of ground beef. I made us little ground beef bowls, so the thought of meat makes me sick to my stomach. I was also going heavy on the protein because I've been lifting so much, and it also makes me not ever want to eat protein again.
You were there was a point where you were like, yeah, you were like bragging. You were like, yeah, I've had 180 grams of protein today.
I didn't have 180. I had 130 2 days in a row. I was quote unquote cutting, which I think I'm done with.
Is it possible that's what made you throw up, like so much protein?
I don't know. Maybe my body's rejecting cutting.
Yeah, your body's like,
can we not? My body's like, I want peasant food.
Yeah, they're like, we like that. We like thick
bread
ass.
And tomatoes. Well, you cut to keep the thick ass. You don't understand weightlifting. You're not like me. But I do think I'm done with that lifestyle. So we'll see what happens to me.
Yeah. It was funny though how you told me that every time Syd is changing a diet, she tells me it like she's coming out of the closet.
Well, because I know he's gonna do whatever I do and I feel bad.
You were like, hey, listen, don't be mad, but I have something to tell you. My heart drops. I'm like, what the fuck is she about to tell me? Because she's sick. So I'm just like, what is this sickness, your food poisoning, causing to creep up to the surface? And she goes, I'm gonna be vegan for a week. And I'm like, okay.
Well, because I'm the little chef of the house, and you got to do whatever I do.
I'm pretty good at making meat though, if I need to. But I also
getting better.
I was like, that's a good idea. I have been eating a lot of meat, so
We've been eating a lot of meat.
Maybe 1 week of vegan would do us good. Anyways, so moving on. You were really excited about this next topic. Do you want to bring it up?
I think it's really funny.
Yeah.
In college, I wasn't in a sorority. Shocker, I know. But a sorority did ask me to haze their new recruits. And I just think that's such an honor. And I don't talk about it enough. I feel like this is something that should be on a profile. Like my LinkedIn, was not in a sorority, but one time a sorority asked me to haze their, what are they called? Rushes?
Pledges.
I
love the idea of them being like, you're a cunt.
You're a psycho. Why don't you do this?
You're a fucking bitch. Why don't you make these girls' lives miserable?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Did you know them? The sorority?
Yeah, I was roommates with one of them freshman and sophomore year. And then she moved in with all her sorority friends and I stayed with my weird friends. And they were like, yeah, you're pretty fucking psychotic. Come do this.
When you told me that, I was thinking of like an alternate reality where you were like Miss Sorority Queen, like the exact opposite. It's you, but you're like what Reese Witherspoon's character. What's her name?
Elle Woods.
Elle Woods.
Yeah.
Were you ever like that ever?
No.
You always had this kind of undercutting about perspective.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing.
And you said this the other day. You were like, you wouldn't love me as much as you do if I were like that.
Well, yeah, we had another fight about going to a wedding, as we do, about once a month. And and he was all upset. And I was like, you wouldn't like me. Like, the reason you like me is because I don't like shit like this. Like, it's a huge part of my personality that I don't want to do this stupid ass shit that everybody does just to show off. Like, I fucking hate it.
Yeah, but then I told you it was a non-traditional wedding. And
yeah, that we don't have to watch them get married. It's just a party. So I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like,
But you're right. You are right. It's interesting. Yeah, I think what kind of stood out to me about you is that you are a person with like real perspective. And doesn't fall into line with the majority of other perspectives, because that's what Greek life I think is about. I definitely think there's opportunity for individualism. Sure, I know a lot of people in Greek life and it was great for them, but I do think it's a falling in line system. That's why there are pledges and there's like a hierarchy and that's just, you hear that and you're like, no fucking way.
Yeah, I'd rather blow my head off than have to do any of it. A couple girls took me to their like sorority thing. It's like their date, like their whatever. They had like dances and stuff. Socials.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is absolutely horrific.
I remember when I was in high school, like maybe a freshman, I went to my brother's college, Indiana University, and I went to his fraternity, and I was just like, this is awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah, being in a fraternity sounds fucking kick-ass.
You think so?
If you're a dude, yeah, why not? Like, girls galore, a disgusting house to be a pig in, unlimited beer. What's the problem?
It really was like, this is so cool. Like, these guys live in this giant mansion, and they just drink and fucking hang out with whoever they want. They always have like a big space to bring people back to. I remember my brother, because I was only like 16, so that's like pretty young to be.
That's really young.
So, my brother let me spend the night, but like there was like a party going on in the fraternity, and he was like, "We're not going down there. Like, you're not.
Oh no,
you're not."
Oh man, one time I went to a frat party when I was like a senior, and I made out with this guy who looked like Channing Tatum. And then later he friended me on Facebook, and he was still in high school.
So you went to a fraternity party, and you
made out with a guy who, I'm not kidding you, he looked like Channing Tatum. He looked my age. This happened to me multiple times, actually.
Were you in high school?
No, I was a senior in college.
You made out with a high schooler?
Yeah.
I think I have to cut that.
Why? We just made out.
Oh my God. How old is he? 18?
I'm sure. I went to school in Syracuse, New York. We're like townies galore. Like, and they're all rough and tumble. Like, that's not like.
They're hot.
No, they're not. Well, some are hot, but it's like, I don't think it's a easy place to grow up. Like, it's what's it called? It was a big factory town that all the factories shut down.
Yeah, it was like a mill town.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of money there. It's fucking freezing. Like, yeah, all there is to do is like yard work and then go to frat parties, probably.
Oh my God. So you made out with a high schooler multiple times?
I'm just like, why did you friend me on Facebook afterwards? I would see you have yet to graduate high school, right? He was a senior and I'm praying 18, and it was just a make out, but
I bet you're the exotic girl that got away to him. But anyway, so I'm spending the night in my brother's fraternity. He won't let me out into the party. He like locked the door and he was like, we're just gonna hang out in here and drink beers. Like, he let me drink.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
But it got to the point where I'm drinking so many beers I had to pee. And he like passed out and went to sleep. And I was like waking him up and like, I have to go pee. Like, is it cool if I like go to the bathroom? And he was like, no, just pee out the window.
Frat frat houses are disgusting.
He was so worried about me like getting swept up into this party that he wanted me to pee out the window. So I literally like opened the window and stuck my little penis out the window and peed. And there were people below, not like directly below, but like, you know, they were out of the pee range, out of the sprinkle zone is what I call it. And they were like, "Yo, what's up, man?" And I was like, "Hey."
Oh my God.
It's like so crazy. But yeah, I guess like Greek life for a man sounded good. But I went to Arizona State and the president that took over for the school hated Greek life. He, you know, that Greek life is what kind of made Arizona State have this like crazy party reputation.
Yeah, that's what did it.
It is.
Well, your senior year, like apartment building, didn't it have like a huge pool with like a stadium like screen like for parties?
Yes, but I'm talking about the negative connotation about it being a party school was kind of, I think when people picture it, they're picturing the old fraternity life of Arizona State in like the late 90s and early 2000s.
Okay.
So that president took over and he literally knocked down frat row.
Whoa.
And it was like a big controversy.
Good for him.
Yeah. So by the time I got to college, like there was like maybe one or two fraternities still on frat row. And I rushed a couple times and I felt so conflicted. Like I was like, you know, I thought about my brother's experience in fraternity in Indiana and like that seemed like so much fun, but it was like not what it was at ASU, especially like, the Greek life wasn't as, you know, I don't know. It didn't seem as worthwhile. Like you're paying money. You're not getting a place to live. You're just like paying to like hang out with people in their apartments.
It's really bizarre to me.
You know, and I like had felt like I had good friends already. So I didn't feel like it was necessary. But I was so conflicted. It felt like, I remember feeling when I was a freshman, like I either have to join a fraternity or I have to do something else. And this decision is going to affect my life forever.
That's so funny.
Like I was stressed about it. And I ultimately didn't do it. I ended up joining an improv team and I got very close with the people in my major.
LOL. Nerd.
It's just funny though, because a big like thing that weighed in my head was like, I really want to party and like.
I really want to party.
And
I'm nerdy, but I really want to party.
And you can't party if you're not in Greek. Like I was like, I won't be able to party as much if I'm not in Greek life.
That's so funny.
Because it's hard to get alcohol.
It is hard to get alcohol.
You know, when you're that age and like, you know, ultimately got a fake ID and got arrested for that. So I ended up figuring it out.
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, I was so like torn and conflicted. But for you, it was a very easy decision.
Yeah. It was like, no. Why would I rush? I went to Syracuse. I got on a sketch comedy team immediately.
You didn't even rush.
I actually did rush sophomore year because my roommate, who was my best friend and who still is someone I love very, very much. We went to high school together. So she was in Theta, which at Syracuse was like a cool like lesbian sorority. So I was like, I could be in this one. Like, that sounds great. Of
course, the only sorority you want to be in is the lesbian one.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this sounds fucking sick. Like, and it turned out I don't need to be in that sorority to get action from those girls. They were all obsessed with me. I think because I wasn't in it, and that's the one that I ended up hazing girls for. But she just had such.
Were you hazing them or just doing BDSM?
I was hazing them, but I'd be like, drink, and they'd be like, oh, I don't want to, and I'd be like, okay, don't worry, you don't have to. I wasn't good at it because I can play psycho, but I don't actually like. I don't want to give anyone alcohol poisoning.
No.
But so she was in this cool gay sorority, and I was like, oh, sick, like I could do that. And then I started rushing, and I was like, this is psychotic.
Even that sorority was not chill.
Well, no, because you walk in and they're all like clapping and doing like theta girls.
Theta at Syracuse was a lesbian sorority, or
it had a lot of lesbians.
Theta? Is it the Theta?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I don't really remember. I remember tried out every girl was very tan, and then there was another one, Kappa. Every girl looked really rich. I don't know. And then Theta, everyone was a lesbian.
It is this weird thing where like it's women finding other women that look like them.
Yeah. Very bizarre.
But at Indiana, the fraternity, I think why I romanticized it so much is because the majority of people that went there were just in Greek life. It was just what you did there. But at ASU, it was only like 3,000 kids of a school that's 72,000 kids. So like, and like the people that were in Greek life there, for me, they just were not people who I vibe with. Like, it was a lot of like, you know, some fraternities, not so much, but a lot of the fraternities were like bro-y meatheads. And I know like people think I'm bro-y, but it's like literally guys who are just like, I drink and fuck. Like,
ew. Yeah, that's my nightmare.
You know, it was a lot of guys like that.
Yeah. And
not sensitive boys, not sensitive betas.
I know. You're sensitive. Well, what's funny is, so I went to a bachelorette party recently, and it was a cool sober girl bachelorette party. So there was no alcohol. We sat in a backyard and drank seltzer and watched Now and Then. Like, it was my style. But I was talking to a girl, and she went to Northern Arizona University.
NAU.
Yeah, for
Lumberjacks.
College. And she was like, it was so much fun. And I was telling her I work at the rock gym, and she was like, ugh, I used to love climbing in Arizona. That's all we did. There was a rock climbing course. And I was like, why don't people factor shit like that? Like, I went to, like we talked about, this prep school, and, you know, it all makes sense to me because I just told you it was Republican. Like, my parents weren't friends with any other of the parents. We were the only Jewish liberal family. And I'm always like, why the fuck do we go there? And I think it's, you know, it makes sense that my dad, he prioritized education over everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's where all of his money went, was so that we could go to like a nice prep school and get into good colleges. And I went to Syracuse because it's the #1 journalism school in the country, even though, is that a good fit? No, I would not say that was an incredible fit for me. You know, I found my little group of weirdos, and I was on a sketch comedy team with a bunch of people who like only wore black and were vegan, and it was very fun. But
you found your NAU at Syracuse.
Yeah, I found my NAU at Syracuse, but I'm like, oh wow, like if I had been given the option to go to like a cool state school somewhere gorgeous outside, like, and I wasn't forced to focus on like, why did I go to the #1 journalism school in the country? Like, I'm not a journalist. This is stupid.
Vulture said we're award-winning broadcasters. Which is very funny.
God.
I finally put my journalism degree to good use.
Oh my God, me too. I have to email my alma mater, Newhouse.
But I will. Syd, I really agree with you. I will say that I feel like I, in a lot of ways, did factor in lifestyle.
Yeah.
To go to ASU because I love being outside. I love hiking. I love good weather. Like, that was a big part of going there, you know, and I think it is something that gets overlooked in the American educational system. Like, you're sending your kid to college. Like, think about the type of kid you have. Like, what are they going to do for fun? What do you want them to do for fun? Like, and also there's such an education to be had in like life experiences.
Well, yeah.
In that place.
I would say that's more the point of college.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying send your kid to some expensive ass school across the country. I'm just saying I wish I had thought, or my dad had thought, because I did do pretty much everything he said because I just didn't care.
Yeah.
But, you know, Syracuse ended up having a very cool punk scene, which was very fun. Like I said, I found my NAU at Syracuse.
I said that. But.
Yes. Well, like Noah said, I found my NAU at Syracuse, but I always thought, you know, I would have loved going somewhere like Seattle, where like there is cool, like a cool experience to be had in the city, a city that I would have liked exploring instead of Syracuse, where the reality is I did fast track my drinking problem. Like insanely. I just remember being left alone in attics all the time because I would just suddenly start throwing up in the middle of a conversation and they'd be like, "Okay, see you tomorrow." Like,
you also finished school in 3 years. Like, that's kind of telling.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I stayed because I had 2 jobs in Syracuse, but yeah,
it's like, what are you gonna do? Like,
where
take advantage of that time in your life.
Yeah.
But I agree.
But yeah, that last semester I was living alone and I had 2 jobs. Like, why was I just didn't really want to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh my God, I'm doing improv on Wednesday, a sober show.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing improv for the first time in 7 years. I'm scared.
Yeah, you guys should go check it out at UCB. I'm really excited to watch.
Well, this will come out after, but
yeah.
I'm so nervous.
I'm really excited to watch you perform again.
Oh, man.
I'm so excited. I think you should just go in there with a ton of confidence and just listen.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, just listen. That's all improv. Listen and be confident in your choices.
Yeah. I'm hoping I'm still good. I'm hoping it's like riding a bike.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be rusty, but that's funny too. Just go with it. Like, use everything.
Yeah, when I was coaching improv before I quit, I'd have a bunch of people come up, my students come up to me and be like, "What do you do after a bad show?" Like, I feel like shit, and I was like, every bad show, I would just check off in my brain. Great, that's one less bad show I'm gonna do in the future. That took care of that. So I'm hoping I can take my own advice. I don't think it'll be a bad show. There's so many talented people on it. I'm scared. Like I actually have pretty bad stage fright.
Yeah, you've always had that.
And when I was on Herald Night at UCB, I would get sick before shows and I would have anxiety all week, and it's happening again. It's back.
I'm so excited. But before we go, let's get into it. What are you into this week, Syd?
What am I into? So last week I was really into Irma Vep. Did we say that? Did I say that? I think I did say that. The movie. Now I'm watching the show. I said I wasn't into the show because I'd only seen one episode. Now that I've watched more, excellent TV show on HBO. It's so funny. You watched like one scene and you were laughing.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a drama, and then you told me it was a comedy, and then I kept watching for longer, and there's some really funny comedic moments in it.
Yeah, I think I like French comedy so much because it is very dramatic and
it's subtle.
It's subtle, but I like that.
Yeah, it's dry.
Yeah.
And it's like very character oriented.
Yeah.
You have to pay attention.
Yeah, you do.
Which I like. I like that. I'm into. Syd found these high protein chips.
Oh God.
Speaking of protein.
Speaking of he wasn't in Greek life, but he found these high protein chips.
Yeah, I didn't join Greek life, but I eat high protein chips like 3 or 4 times a day.
They are really good, but a lot of people hate them, so don't take our word for it.
I don't know. I like them. There's the nacho cheese one, and it tastes like you're eating Doritos, and it has barely any carbs. Like, it's just high protein. What is it like?
It's called Quest.
It's like fried like whey powder. Like, I don't understand.
I don't understand either because the macros are fucking insane.
The macros are fucking sick, bro. So yeah, I like high protein chips. Quest. You should go download them on Amazon and print them off in your computer and eat them, bro. Yeah, these chips are cool because you can print them off in your printer.
They are. I like the chili lime.
Man, if they could figure out how to like create food from your printer,
I think they can. Isn't that what a 3D printer does?
you can make food.
I don't know.
I don't understand that. Like, I've heard you can make a gun with the 3D printer. It's like, does it work?
I know on Grey's Anatomy they were making organs with the 3D printer.
That's crazy.
Love that show.
Well, that's wearing me out. I think we need to go to sleep. Guys, we're gonna hop over to Patreon real quick. Come join us.
We're gonna talk about sad stuff.
We're gonna talk about sad stuff. So if you like
sad stuff, which we know a lot of you do, join us on Patreon.
But we have all different members. We just had someone
We have all different members.
We just had someone recently, a good friend of ours, join for the $3. He's the first $3 membership.
Yeah, why aren't all of you doing that?
And
I love you, but it's $36 a year. Just fucking do it.
That means so much to us. It really helps, and it's just like, it just feels like unconditional support. And thank you, Josh Scarcella.
Thank you, Joshy,
for becoming a $3 member. What are they called?
I don't know, but I just want to say Noah put so much work into this podcast. It is a full-time job for him.
Yes, thank you.
And
but I love it.
Know that he loves it, but it's his. He wakes up every morning at 7:30 and he just goes straight to his computer and starts working on the pod.
No, actually, first I make you coffee, then I stretch.
Wow.
Then I go to the computer.
Good husband.
But yeah, guys, you can join at any level. And we have, all the accounts, the Instagrams, the TikToks, the YouTubes. Just get on there, subscribe. And thank you guys. And we love you. And good night.
Love you. Good night, sleepyheads.
It's the Bedtime Podcast.